All right, so I'm just gonna let us dive into this like little like research rabbit hole thing, so that we can get to the bottom of this. So here, let's just start with Ophir. Okay, so the land of Ophir, and then we'll start from there. And this is before we're convinced by Wikipedia, right? But I'm just gonna use Wikipedia because actually it's Wikipedia. It's in its etymology. It's just to make things quick. So some of the stuff is not accurate. So we're gonna be trying to like dig through it so that we can get to the meat of it. So I'm not gonna be going over everything so that I can get to like the point. And so Ophir is a port or region mentioned in the Bible, famous for its wealth. King Solomon received a shipment from Ophir every 3 years. So this is gold, silver, sandalwood, pearls, ivory, apes, and peacocks. So Ophir was a place like this, and it's mentioned so many times. So here, um, the Book of Kings and Chronicles. It's not gonna highlight, is it? Oh yeah, the Book of Kings and Chronicles is talking about someone called Hiram from Ezion Geber, the port on the Red Sea, that brought back large amounts of gold, precious stones, and algum hoods. So so let's just go to, because we want to find Ophir, and we also want to find anything else interesting, because what we're doing is we're just basically following the money, and we're also going to be rewarded for this because God rewards the diligent. So we're just going to do a quick search so that we're rewarded for this. So following the money. So we're going to look at the Red Sea, and we're going to see that this place called Ophir is somewhere linked to this area, right? But then King Solomon and them, they were somewhere here. So Hiram had ships. So let's see if there's any more information on Hiram. So the first thing about Hiram is that we have to first understand that he was Phoenician. His name is Phoenician. All right. So he was a Phoenician king of Tyre, according to the Bible. So he was a king, right, of Tyre, according to the Bible. His regnal years have been calculated to be 980 to 450 BC, basically. So this is where we can expect Solomon was around in the like 1,000 years before Christ, thereabout. So Hiram was succeeded by the king of Tyre, his son Baal-Ezar. Hiram is also mentioned in Menander of Ephesus. This is 200 years BC. And then so this is actually this person, and he was a Phoenician. All right. So here I want us to just go to ancient Phoenicia for a little bit. So this was a civilization in the Levant, in the eastern Mediterranean, primarily located in northern Lebanon. All right. So here we're gonna see that this is Phoenicia, right? And then the Red Sea would be right below. So we're gonna go there in a second. But first thing is that the Phoenician here, as we can see, they're a Canaanite religion, right? So they're part of the Canaanite religion, and they're also Punic, all right? So this is Phoenician and Punic. This is what Hiram was, right? So this is a Semitic language of the Canaanites. This is from Lebanon, Syria, Mediterranean, and all of these places. So here, let's just go to Punic people. So this is basically still Phoenician. So now here we now make the leap to North Africa. All right, and I'm gonna illustrate why. So the Punic people are a Semitic people in the Western Mediterranean who migrated from Tyre. So this is Tyre. So this place is very, 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 very important and interesting as we go on in the studies. But for now, we're just talking about Phoenicia. So to North Africa during the early Iron Age, the term Punic was used. All right. So the Punic states are also in Africa. So this is Carthage, which is Tunisia, which is also part of Libya, Mogador, Morocco. So there are also Punic people in Sicily. This is because of the Punic Wars, where they were fighting against the Roman kingdom. So the Romans defeated the Phoenicians, but when they took over the Phoenician Empire, what they took over was the Phoenician knowledge. All right. So here, Punic, Phoenicia, and everything. So let's just go to the map really quickly so that we can just see what we're talking about. So we have Africa right here, right? And then we have uh, we have Tunisia right over here, and then we have Sicily right over there. So the Punic Wars were to control this strip of land here. So the reason why we started with Solomon is because Solomon was supposed to get his stuff around here, right? So the Phoenicians were the ones who had the ships, and they could either use the Red Sea here, or they could use the Mediterranean there. So at some point in Libya and Algeria and all these places where there is the Sahara Desert, this place was not always like this, okay? And however, in the time of King Solomon, we can just cross reference if it was like this, but it was not always this dry. So the point of the matter is, Hiram's ships may have also been on the Mediterranean. Hiram's ships may also have been on the Red Sea, because this is all the land of the Phoenicians. So here he would be getting his goods anywhere from this end of Africa. So this is where we get Ethiopia and Somalia, the Horn of Africa, which has a little gap where we go to the Middle East. So one thing to realize about the Middle East is that it's also part of Africa because it is the same land. This strip of land is still connected. So basically, this entire continent is connected, this entire place. So it reaches up to there. This is the extent of where this begins in Senegal, somewhere at the Cape Verde, let's just say. All of this is connected here. So it's still the same continent in actuality. All of this is still part of Africa, all of this. So at some point, these icelands were connected, and people are assumed to have just walked past because the weather conditions were different. So all of this was connecting Africa, and then they moved. Just like how there's North and South America because of this Panama, we have a Swiss canal, but then this canal was only made in the 1800s. Okay. And then so this is what connects the entire continent to Africa, just there. So this place in Egypt was a very important place, right? So this is also where the ships were. So the ships of Hiram would sail to the south, to the heartland over here, and this is where they would get a lot of their things. Although the further down they would get to here and here, the more gold they would get. So some of the gold that they were getting was from there, and it was transported through here and through areas like in the Mediterranean and in Egypt. So this is how it was. So it's also interesting to see that these were the actual ancient trading routes at the time. So being around the last century BCE, all right. So this is called the incense road, right? The incense route. So this is where they used to get their spices. So in this incense route, this is 1,000 years BC basically, until they changed when our ships became faster. This is when this route became obsolete in some sense. But then this is still part of the Silk Road, which connects back to Asia over there. So this is the ancient Silk Route. So it used to connect here with the Syrian desert, Jerusalem. This is where they used to get a lot of their things. So a lot of the things would come here from the south. So the south is not even in the map, but the things would be traded through the Red Sea, the Indian Ocean, and the Mediterranean. And the Phoenicians were in the middle or in the thick of all of this trade. So the Phoenicians are also going to be very, very fun and interesting because their legacy is what the Romans took over. So this has just been like some of the trade routes and that were for the land of Ophir and Tarshish, and then you can understand a little bit of the geography and the whole fact that the whole world is connected through Egypt. And that's why it was such an important place to control. However, this is also the same place where that Abraham was given, because when he was standing here, if he looked, when he was standing right here, he could look east, west, north, and south, and that was his inheritance. So basically, that's why he had to be there at that time. And this is what it is.